In part 1 of the series, we explored legendary icons like Marilyn Monroe and Sophia Loren, who were not only famous for their beauty but also for their freedom and style, including daring to go braless on screen. Continuing the previous part, we will continue to admire other vintage divas like Jane Fonda or Ann-Margret, who were not afraid to break the rules of fashion and became endless sources of inspiration for future generations. Let's explore more prominent names, bold fashion revolutions, and freestyles that have made an indelible mark in the history of cinema. Ann-Margret, the fiery young lady of Hollywood, is not only famous for her acting talent but also for her bold and seductive fashion style. If you have ever seen Bye Bye Birdie, 1963, you will surely not forget the image of Ann-Margret in a sparkling fashion outfit and completely without a bra. This is not only a smart fashion choice, but also a strong declaration of freedom and absolute confidence. She is not simply a beautiful woman, she is a symbol of rebellion, not afraid to break the strict and conservative fashion stereotypes of that time. The image of Ann-Margret appearing in a braless outfit is an indelible mark in the public's heart. When talking about Ann-Margret, people not only remember her romantic movie roles, but also remember her as a model woman who is not constrained by social standards. Instead of adhering to classic standards, she decided to create a new image, a sexy image, but no less independent and individual. The braless outfit in Bye Bye Birdie became a fashion statement, affirming that confidence is the most important factor that helps a woman shine. And that confidence, Ann-Margret did not hesitate to show, making her one of the most sex symbols in Hollywood. There is no denying that in the 60s and 70s, the braless style became a bold fashion symbol for Hollywood actresses. This was a time when rebellion and free-spirited style became a trend in the fashion industry, and Ann-Margret was a pioneer in this movement. Her appearance in braless outfits was not simply a style choice, but also a declaration of women's freedom to express themselves. And Ann-Margret, with her confidence and irresistible charm, created a new standard for bold women in that era. Interestingly, Ann-Margret was not the only one who created a shock in the entertainment industry with the braless style. Other female icons of Hollywood, such as Farrah Fawcett, also contributed to creating a special fashion movement. Farrah, who is best known for her role as Jill Monroe in Charlie's Angels, 1976, has also shown her confidence and strength through her personal style, including braless sportswear. And like Ann-Margret, Farrah has also not hesitated to say that she believes the success of Charlie's Angels is largely due to the fact that none of the three angels had to wear bras. This shows that, not only in Hollywood, but all over the world, the image of confident women with unique personal styles has created a revolution in the image of women in the public. The freedom to choose clothes, especially not wearing a bra, has become a symbol of independence and control over a woman's body. Ann-Margret and Farrah Fawcett are not only talented actresses, but also symbols of freedom, strong femininity, and bold choices in style. Their era was an era of change and breaking of classical norms, where women were not afraid to express their personality and ego through their outfits. When mentioning Jane Fonda, it is impossible not to mention her rebellious boldness, both in fashion style and in social activities. With a career spanning decades, Fonda has made her mark not only as a movie star, but also as a style icon of the 60s, making the whole world look back and admire. Imagine you are a young girl living in the turbulent period of the 60s, where women began to assert themselves in society, and Jane Fonda was the embodiment of that change. In the movie Barbarella, 1968, Fonda appeared in super bold science fiction costumes, surprising the whole film world. The image of Barbarella is not only a symbol of beauty, but also a big step forward in expressing the strength and freedom of women. Fonda's tight-fitting outfits, adventurous action scenes, and captivating eyes changed the way women were viewed in cinema, defining a strong, boundary-pushing style. But talking about Jane Fonda, we cannot forget her bold social activities. She was one of the first people to speak out strongly on social issues, especially in the anti-war movement of the 60s and 70s. Her love for freedom and equality made Fonda a role model for millions of women, not only in her career, but also in her way of life and how she faced challenges. Don't forget that Fonda also caused a stir when she engaged in controversial political issues, and she was even nicknamed Hanoi Jane for her actions against the Vietnam War. But nothing could shake Fonda's courage. She always stood firm and continued to be an example for a new generation of women. Another bold symbol that Jane Fonda created was in the 80s, when she turned to making exercise videos. This was not just a simple sport, but a movement to help women become more confident in themselves and their own physical strength. Fonda's exercise videos are not only outstanding for their effectiveness, but also because she has turned a seemingly ordinary activity into an indispensable part of women's lives. The image of Fonda in a sports suit, dripping with sweat and always smiling on her lips, has created a new wave of exercise, encouraging people, especially women, to live healthier and more active lives. Jane Fonda is living proof of a woman who is not only beautiful, but also dares to be true to herself, dares to do different things to change the world. That is why she remains one of the strongest and never-fading icons of the world of cinema and society. Her contributions, whether in cinema or social activities, have inspired millions of people, especially generations of women, affirming that boldness is the key to opening new doors, both in career and life. Raquel Welch, a timeless beauty and sex symbol, has carved her name into film history with her irresistible beauty and daring style. One of the most memorable moments in Raquel's career was when she wore a leather bikini in the movie 1 Million Years BC, 1966. That scene not only made viewers admire her wild beauty, but also created a sexy image that was hard to surpass. Without the need for a bra or elaborate costumes, with just a simple bikini, Raquel Welch captivated the world and turned herself into a symbol of charm, confidence, and uniqueness. So how did Raquel Welch become an icon? She was not only a beautiful actress, but also someone who broke many rules and standards of the time. While many female celebrities are often forced to adhere to strict standards of appearance, Raquel has proven that women do not need to wear extravagant dresses or cover up in elaborate, discreet layers to shine and command the stage. It is her bold style and confidence in not needing a bra or complicated clothing that has made her a role model for strong, free, and independent women. Raquel's boldness is not only limited to fashion, but also reflected in the way she chooses her roles. She is not afraid to challenge herself with different and exploratory roles, always renewing herself in each film. Therefore, Raquel Welch is not only remembered for her outstanding beauty, but also for her impressive acting talent. She is the ideal model of free women, always daring to express themselves without having to follow any social norms. And when talking about the symbol of freedom and charm, it is impossible not to mention one of the outstanding features that Raquel Welch brings to the world: not wearing a bra. This is not a provocation, but a declaration of freedom and self-acceptance. Raquel Welch has proven that there is nothing wrong with women choosing to be comfortable in their clothes, and that does not diminish their beauty and sexiness. In fact, it was this comfort and freedom in the way she dressed that helped her stand out more than ever. With her bold style, Raquel Welch was not only a movie star, but also a cultural icon, a woman who affirmed that beauty comes not only from appearance, but also from confidence, strength, and the ability to be true to herself. And no matter how much time passes, Raquel Welch will always be one of the irreplaceable sex symbols in the history of cinema. Brigitte Bardot, an irreplaceable symbol of charm and freedom, has become a living legend of French cinema. She not only stands out with her captivating roles, but also with her bold and completely natural fashion style. Without a bra, Bardot confidently showed off her enchanting beauty, creating a trend that still holds true today. She is the embodiment of free beauty, not constrained by any stereotypes, and is a role model for women who dare to be true to themselves. Right from the movie And God Created Woman, 1956, Bardot made the audience admire with her bold, rebellious, but equally charming image. She is not only a symbol of cinema, but also a symbol of freedom in fashion. The whole world admires her not only for her acting talent, but also for her strong choices in breaking social norms about beauty. This film helped her shape the image of a free, confident woman, and especially not afraid to show off her natural beauty, from her flowing hair to her daring outfits, typically flimsy jackets, without the need for a bra. Bardot was not the only one to pioneer this trend. The image of famous Hollywood stars in the 60s such as Marilyn Monroe or Sophia Loren also created strong waves in the fashion industry, with classic dresses and sexy outfits. However, Bardot has always been known as a pioneer in blurring the line between natural beauty and boldness. She affirmed that charm is not a matter of math, but freedom and the ability to master yourself. In addition to provocative outfits, Brigitte Bardot also made the public admire the way she expressed herself through her lifestyle. Especially in the 60s, when the feminist movement was starting to explode, she became a model of a woman who dared to stand up for her rights and those of all women. Not only a fashion icon, Bardot is also a symbol of strength, independence, and freedom. Nowadays, whenever Brigitte Bardot is mentioned, people not only remember a movie goddess with top beauty, but also remember a model of free living, full of personality and charm. She is a clear proof that charm does not lie in strict rules, but in the courage to break social limits, and then become an immortal symbol in the hearts of fans. Bardot is a living legend whose name still captivates the hearts of those who love freedom and independence. For each of them, fashion is not just about clothes, but also a declaration of confidence, about living true to one's identity without worrying about the judgment of others. Thanks to these strong marks, they paved the way for the next generation of artists and style icons. Their strong, decisive steps have made fashion an irreversible revolution. If you love boldness and style and want to learn more about legendary fashion icons, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next articles. Reba McEntire, a little girl from McAlester, Oklahoma, had a colorful childhood and unforgettable memories. Born in 1955, Reba grew up on a ranch in Chalky, where she and her family enjoyed a simple life filled with love and connection. The third of 4 children, Reba grew up in a family where everyone had a hand in the work on the ranch, from castrating bulls to giving cattle deworming medication. They not only worked together, but also created happy memories together, especially the car rides to their father's rodeos, where music and happiness were always in the air. Reba's mother, Jacqueline, always dreamed of becoming a country singer, although her life led her to become a teacher, librarian, and secretary. However, the love of music still ran in the McEntire family's veins. Jacqueline skillfully taught her children to sing in harmony during their trips, which led to Reba and her siblings developing a love for music at an early age. Reba not only sang, but also began to learn to play the guitar and piano, making music an integral part of her daily life. Entering her high school years, Reba continued to shine. She joined the 4-H club, where her passion for the arts had a chance to explode. Singing My Sweet Little Alice Blue Gown in a contest helped Reba win first place and turned her into a little star in the community. Imagine a little girl with bright red hair and a bright smile, standing on stage singing for everyone to hear. Nothing could stop her dream. Although her talent was recognized, after graduating from high school, Reba was forced to study elementary education to be like her mother. The image of Reba wearing a school uniform, with a dream of music but having to sit in a school chair really makes people feel both funny and pitiful. But the young girl did not let this discourage her. After graduating, she decided to give up her dream of becoming a teacher to pursue the music path that she truly loved. And then, Reba's early years turned a new page. Together with her siblings, they formed a band, the Singing McEntires, where they performed songs about their famous grandfather. The image of the 4 siblings singing together on stage, with bright smiles and sparkling eyes, is a symbol of unity and love in the family. Songs like the Ballad of Old John McEntire not only helped them gain attention from the community, but also brought them closer to their big dream. However, the real musical dream began with a fateful event. Reba's father arranged for her to perform at the National Finals Rodeo, where her talent caught the attention of country music artist Red Steagall. After the performance, Reba caught Red's eye and he decided that she was the star he was looking for. Interestingly, however, Reba's mother, Jacqueline, urged Red to offer contracts to all of her children, but Red only wanted Reba, because according to him, she had something special that no one could deny. And so, the journey to becoming one of the greatest country music stars began. With hardships, challenges, and relentless passion, Reba decided to give up everything to pursue her dream. The image of the ambitious young girl leaving her hometown to record in Nashville is a symbol of a new beginning. Reba's career began in 1975, when Reba signed with Mercury Records, marking a milestone in her career. However, the beginning was not as easy as she expected. In 1976, she released her first song, I Don't Want to Be a Singer. Although she had a relatively good start, peaking at number 88 on the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart, Reba always felt that she could do better. With an artistic soul and a strong passion, Reba did not give up. She continued to keep her band together, but the singles they released did not bring great success. However, she was not discouraged. The fight to establish herself in the music industry continued, although the pressure and frustration sometimes increased. Eventually, realizing that she would not be able to achieve her big dreams if she stayed with them, Reba decided to leave the group and start a new chapter in her life. The year 1983 was a major turning point in Reba's career. She released the single Can't Even Get the Blues, and the magic happened when it reached #1 on the Billboard Country Music chart. A well-deserved recognition for her tireless efforts. The following year, with the song Why Do We Want, Reba made her mark at #10 on the chart. From then on, there was no doubt about her talent anymore. The list of Reba's outstanding songs just kept going on: Someone to Leave, The Last One to Know, One Promise Too Late, You Lie, and Turn on the Radio. Each song is not only a work of art, but also a story, emotion, and experience that she sends to the audience. After 33 years of artistic activities and a memorable plane crash, Reba has experienced unimaginable ups and downs. Although at times at the peak of her career, Reba is not immune to wrong decisions. Firing all her managers to establish her own entertainment company was a bold decision, but it did not always bring good results. In 2023, Reba had her last public performance when she performed the national anthem at Super Bowl 57. It was not only a moment of glory, but also a tribute to her illustrious career. Reba is a symbol of perseverance and courage, a testament to pursuing passion despite difficulties. Despite her success, Reba's life was not without its challenges. On March 16, 1991, tragedy struck when one of the two planes carrying her and her crew crashed. Among the dead were 8 members of her band and 2 pilots. The loss left a deep wound in Reba's soul, and she struggled with the pain for years. Although many friends in the industry, such as Vince Gill and Dolly Parton, offered to replace her band to complete the tour, Reba declined. She understood that her friends had become part of her family, and losing them was a devastating blow that could never be healed. In honor of those who had died, McEntire released the album For My Broken Heart, a heartfelt work that chronicled her grief and remembrance. The album reached #1 on the Billboard Top Country Albums chart and sold over 4 million copies, proving the power of music to heal. Reba also showed her acting chops. The film Tremors, 1990, marked the beginning of her acting career. Playing the role of Heather Gummer, Reba showed a new side to her talent. The success of this film opened the door for Reba to pursue an acting career in parallel with her music. In 1991, she received a nomination for Best Supporting Actress at the Saturn Awards, confirming that her acting talent was not limited to music. Continuing to develop her talent, Reba starred in many films and television shows, including The Gambler Returns, The Luck of the Draw, and North. She also worked with big names like Rob Reiner as an assistant director. However, after a long time working in both music and acting, Reba realized that dividing her time between the two fields was not easy. She had to make a difficult decision to leave one of them. In the end, although she still loved acting, Reba chose music as her main path. Throughout her career, Reba has received numerous awards and honors, including Grammy Awards, Country Music Association Awards, and many others. She is not only an artist, but also a pioneer in the music industry, paving the way for many other female artists. With her warm voice and excellent storytelling ability, Reba has conveyed her emotions and stories to the audience in the most authentic way. In addition, Reba has also participated in famous television shows. The sitcom Reba debuted in 2001 and quickly attracted the attention of the audience. With her natural and humorous acting, Reba portrayed the true image of a single mother trying to raise her children in an imperfect family. The show brought her many awards and nominations, helping to solidify her position in the hearts of the audience. As a successful woman, Reba attracted many men, but Reba's life was like a colorful song, with sweet melodies and low notes, clearly reflected in her love affairs and marriages. Reba's love journey began with Charlie Battles, a champion bullfighter and cowboy who was 10 years older than her. For Reba, love was never limited by the past or age, and the fact that Charlie had 2 sons from previous marriages was not a problem. She was a strong and confident woman who always knew what she wanted. However, this marriage did not last long, because Charlie was not ready for the fame that Reba was about to have. Reba's life began to change when she decided to get a divorce in 1987, leaving her hometown of Oklahoma for Nashville, Tennessee, where her musical dreams awaited her. After establishing herself firmly in the music industry, Reba entered a new relationship with Narvel Blackstock, a manager and former steel guitarist. They had a private wedding ceremony in Lake Tahoe, where love and music seemed to blend together. Everyone hoped that the couple would have a long-lasting happiness. However, according to Reba, their relationship was mainly focused on work. They spent too much time discussing their careers and forgot to nurture their personal feelings. After 26 years together, this drove them apart, and finally, in December 2013, they decided to divorce. Despite the end of the relationship, Reba still maintains a good relationship with Narvel as they have a son together, Shelby Stephen McEntire Blackstock, who was born in February 1990. After breaking up with Narvel, Reba challenged herself with a new, exciting relationship with photographer Anthony Lazo. This relationship attracted public and media attention, and Reba was very open about her feelings. But like a sad song, after 6 months of dating, they decided to break up. This shows that, no matter how famous, love can still be difficult. Currently, Reba is happily in a relationship with American actress Lex Lynn. Their first meeting took place in 1991, but it was not until 2021 that their feelings blossomed. Reba is not shy about expressing her affection for Lex in interviews. "I couldn't get enough of him," Reba shared about the early days of their romance. She praised Lex as a wonderful person who was always supportive and caring. They attended many public events, dinners, and social gatherings together, where their love was like sweet music in the middle of their busy lives. It may surprise some to know that Reba had a special relationship with former President George H.W. Bush. While this relationship may not be something that everyone thinks about, Reba once revealed that they kept in touch until his death in 2018. In a 2007 interview, Reba shared that they were just close friends, exchanging emails. While it's hard to say whether there was more than friendship, it's certain that Reba's love and respect for him was immense. Reba McEntire's love life may have been a series of ups and downs, but what's important is that she always picked herself back up after each fall. From a strong woman searching for true love to a famous artist, Reba has written an inspiring story. Each relationship, successful or not, has contributed to her journey. Like a soulful country song, Reba's life is a testament to the power of love, perseverance, and determination. Despite many ups and downs in her career, Reba has never stopped being creative and challenging herself. She is still actively involved in new projects, from music to acting. Reba has even appeared in major TV shows and events, making fans always eagerly await new products from her. She also does not hesitate to share her dreams for the future. Reba often says that she still has many things she wants to do and has no intention of retiring. With her strong passion, Reba McEntire will certainly continue to make miracles in her artistic career. Currently, Reba McEntire is 69 years old, enjoying love and vacations with her lover, Rex Lynn. She lives in a mansion in Nashville, Tennessee, with an estimated net worth of $95 million. If you like interesting things and want to discover new things with us, do not hesitate to like and subscribe. Each of your likes is a great motivation for us to continue creating more attractive videos. Jennifer Connelly had a colorful and exciting childhood, marked by many unexpected changes. Born on December 12, 1970 in Round Top, a small, peaceful village in Cairo, New York, Connelly was the only child in her family. Her mother, Eileen Carroll, was an antique dealer of Polish and Russian Jewish descent, and her father, Gerard Connelly, was a clothing manufacturer of Irish and Norwegian descent. The Connelly family originally lived in Brooklyn Heights, but because her father suffered from asthma, they moved to Woodstock in 1976 to escape the urban smog, before returning to Brooklyn Heights 4 years later. Jennifer was an active and natural child, often running and exploring everywhere. When she was 10 years old, a family friend advised her parents to send Jennifer's photos to the Ford modeling agency. And in the blink of an eye, Jennifer was a child model for print ads and then television commercials. However, according to Jennifer, she had absolutely no idea that she would become an actress when she grew up. A hard-working student, she entered Yale University to study English literature after graduating from high school. At that time, Jennifer described herself as a true bookworm who did not care about partying, even skipping sleep and eating. However, just 2 years later, Jennifer transferred to Stanford University to study drama, inspired by talented teachers like Roy London and Howard Fine. However, with the support of her family, Jennifer soon left school and returned to the path of art. Starting with the covers of the teen magazine 17 and with a few pop songs recorded for the Japanese market, Jennifer took steady steps into the entertainment world. Jennifer Connelly entered the film industry with a natural charm and promising talent, and from her first role, she left audiences stunned. In 1984, she appeared in the epic film Once Upon a Time in America by legendary director Sergio Leone when she was only 14 years old, transforming into Deborah Gelly, an innocent but introspective ballet girl. Although it was a small role, Deborah left a deep impression thanks to Jennifer's captivating acting ability. Starring alongside famous names like Robert De Niro and led by Leone's meticulous style, Jennifer proved that she was not only a radiant beauty but also a true actress. Although the film was not successful at the US box office, Jennifer's role was highly appreciated worldwide, affirming her as a rough diamond of cinema. After the first breakthrough, Jennifer did not stop. In 1986, she appeared in Jim Henson's classic fantasy film Labyrinth, where she played Sarah Williams, a girl who is sucked into a magical maze to rescue her younger brother. Working alongside legendary rock star David Bowie as the Goblin King, Jennifer had magical moments but also had challenges. She had to dance and express a variety of complex emotions in a magical setting. Although the film was not a success upon its release, time has proven the immense appeal of Labyrinth, a work that fans later cherished as a nostalgic gem. Labyrinth became a landmark in Jennifer's career, bringing her into the vast and artistic world of cinema. However, Hollywood is a place where beauty and talent are sometimes not enough to ensure advancement. After Labyrinth, Jennifer Connelly faced the challenge of transitioning from child actor to more mature roles. Despite her stunning looks and undeniable talent, she struggled to break free from the pretty young actress stereotype. Hollywood was tough at the time and not ready to give her the big break she needed. But with determination, Jennifer continued to strive to prove herself in complex and gritty roles, demonstrating the depth of her acting. Her biggest success came when she landed a role in Requiem for a Dream, 2000, a challenging film directed by Darren Aronofsky. The role required not only her subtle acting skills, but also the courage to play a character with deep and dark emotions. Jennifer stunned with a haunting and authentic performance, earning her numerous prestigious awards and recognition as one of the best actresses of her generation. This was a major milestone in her career, taking Jennifer out of her comfort zone and establishing her as a true actress with the ability to constantly transform. In 2001, when she was invited to play the role of Alicia Nash in the film A Beautiful Mind by famous director Ron Howard. With her ability, it seemed that Jennifer would be excited to immediately accept the role in such a big project. However, she flatly refused. Yes, from the beginning, Jennifer was not completely sure about the role of Alicia and whether she could bring depth to the character. But fortunately, life has a way of creating surprises. Not long after that, Jennifer met Alicia Nash in person, a woman with rare charisma and inner depth. It was this meeting that awakened something special in Jennifer. She began to see Alicia as not just a role, but a living story waiting for her to tell. The role of Alicia required delicacy and sensitivity beyond what Jennifer had experienced in her career. Having to transform into a woman who lived with love and suffering while watching her husband struggle with mental illness was not an easy thing. And perhaps it was that challenge that made Jennifer decide to take on this project. With A Beautiful Mind, Jennifer Connelly was not just an actress, she was the soul of the film. The film was a huge success, grossing over $313 million and winning 4 Oscars, including Best Picture. But for Jennifer, the real success was in her ability to bring deep emotions to the audience through the character Alicia. Famous critic Roger Ebert had to exclaim, "Jennifer Connelly shines as Alicia. It is her complex performance, portraying a woman torn between love and fear, that elevates this film to a new level." Jennifer's journey to the Oscar was truly memorable. At the 74th Academy Awards, Jennifer Connelly was named Best Supporting Actress. It was not only a victory, but also a recognition of her outstanding talent. This Oscar marked a turning point in Jennifer's career, helping her affirm her position as a serious actress capable of taking on complex and multi-layered roles. After the success of A Beautiful Mind, Jennifer's career seemed to be rekindled. She had more opportunities to participate in prestigious projects and was free to choose new roles. The role of Alicia Nash not only brought her an Oscar, but also confidence and a strong voice in the Hollywood film industry. Unlike celebrities who are constantly exposed to the media or involved in noisy controversies, Jennifer has always kept her life quite private and full of smart choices. It all started in 2001, when Jennifer met Paul Bettany during the filming of a movie. True to a Hollywood romantic love story, the two immediately felt a special connection. Jennifer recalls that when she first met Paul, she thought, he's talented. That fateful fate led them to a relationship that was not only beautiful but also sustainable. Before officially becoming a couple, Paul didn't wait long to do something that few people dare to do. He proposed to Jennifer before they even started dating. And, like in romantic comedies, Jennifer said yes right away. Shortly after the show wrapped, they officially became a couple and married in 2003 in a private ceremony in Scotland. Their marriage was not only a rare example of lasting Hollywood love, but also the beginning of a harmonious, loving family. Jennifer already had a son named Kai from a previous relationship with photographer David Dugan, and with Paul Bettany, she welcomed 2 more children. Stellan in 2003, and Agnes Lark in 2011. All three children are a great source of motivation in Jennifer's life, making her feel that her life is full and meaningful. Jennifer is not afraid to share that motherhood has deeply affected both her work and her personal life. She found that having children made her more responsible, not only for herself, but also for the people around her. This new responsibility extends to my work, where I now consider the impact my roles have on the world my children are growing up in, she says. Being a mother means thinking about the future and the impact of every decision you make. Like many mothers, Jennifer has learned to balance fame and family life. Despite her fame in classic films like A Beautiful Mind and Requiem for a Dream, she has chosen to live a relatively private life, avoiding public relationships or tabloid appearances. Jennifer Connelly has never been one to chase the spotlight or fake aura. She chooses films with values and deep messages, projects that make her feel proud rather than just for financial gain or fame. I have a very private lifestyle, nothing too scandalous, she shares. And indeed, she has always been successful in maintaining privacy in her personal life, even with her marital relationship. This does not mean that she is completely away from the public. In interviews and events, Jennifer has always been known as a strong woman with a clear perspective on life, but she has always been clever in keeping details about her family in private space. In the spirit of protecting her children from public scrutiny, Jennifer has chosen not to share too much about her family on social networks or media. She is also very careful in creating boundaries to protect her children from the pressures of a famous life. With a responsible approach and a sense of protecting family happiness, Jennifer always ensures that her loved ones are not affected by gossip in society. In 2020, Jennifer Connelly surprised Hollywood when she stepped into the world of television with Snowpiercer, a dramatic post-apocalyptic series adapted from the blockbuster film by director Bong Joon-ho. Known for her heavy film roles, Connelly's acceptance of such a long-running television project was a big move. And then, she completely mastered the role of Melanie Cavill, the voice of the giant train in the context of the world being destroyed. It was a challenging role with internal conflicts, but Jennifer did not disappoint, showing all the intelligence and determination of the character. If you think Snowpiercer is all that Jennifer Connelly can bring to the television genre, then prepare yourself. In 2022, she continues to explode with Dark Matter of Apple TV+. In this series, she plays Daniela Desson, a character who faces decisive choices in her life, and more specifically, she has to portray different versions of the character in parallel realities. What do you think about Jennifer Connelly being able to live in multiple realities at the same time? It sounds complicated, but Connelly excellently portrays every emotion and every step of Daniela through different realities. Although Jennifer has left a deep mark in the television world, she has not forgotten the big screen. In 2022, after a long absence from blockbusters, Connelly made an impressive comeback with Top Gun: Maverick, a giant film with global influence. She played Penny Benjamin, Maverick's Tom Cruise partner, and it was no surprise that the film became a big hit that summer. Certainly, after participating in Top Gun: Maverick, she has proven that she is not only suitable for emotional roles, but can also conquer blockbusters with confidence and a unique style. What is special is that, in an industry famous for its obsession with youth, Jennifer Connelly still maintains a very positive and youthful attitude. She is not only a veteran actress, but also an actor who is constantly learning and challenging herself. Connelly frankly shared that she does not feel worried about growing old in Hollywood. Instead, she sees it as a great opportunity to learn, challenge herself, and constantly explore new possibilities. Jennifer also shared that she loves the thought of theater, although she joked that she would not participate in a musical, although we know that she would do very well if she tried theater. This shows an optimistic spirit and a will to constantly strive. Thank you for watching my video. If you find this content interesting and want to see more interesting videos, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Your like and subscribe not only help me, but also help the channel grow. Thank you very much. Elizabeth Montgomery, the charming witch of the small screen, not only captivates audiences with her acting skills, but also stirs up Hollywood with her dramatic love life. From stormy love affairs to scandals that break up marriages, Elizabeth's love life has never lacked spice. Although she is not a famous A-list star, she still works with a series of famous actors and directors, capturing their hearts. Let's explore Elizabeth's miraculous love life, and don't forget to like and sub to support the channel. Under the glare of fame, she always searched for true love, but constantly faced emotional failures, partly due to psychological troubles that were not revealed until later. Her love story and marriages are like a dramatic novel with fateful encounters, fleeting sweetness, and lasting pain. Elizabeth's first marriage was to Frederick Gallatin Cameron, a wealthy New York aristocrat, about 10 years older than her. Frederick met Elizabeth while she was filming a television show, and the two quickly fell in love. With the wealth, power, and charm of an aristocrat, Frederick was like a real prince in the eyes of many, but Elizabeth was not only attracted by the flashy appearance. She longed for a complete love, hoping to find a man who would always accompany and support her. Their wedding took place in 1954 when Elizabeth was only 21 years old, too young to understand the complexities of love and marriage. However, the marriage quickly showed signs of collapse. Frederick, though elegant and charming, was a possessive man. He wanted Elizabeth to stay in New York to become a traditional housewife, giving up her career path and living a peaceful life in his arms. But Elizabeth refused to be tied down. With a strong desire for a career, she could not give up her dream of acting. Although she did not want to hurt Frederick, she knew that her career and passion were an important part of who she was. In the end, Elizabeth chose to return to California to continue pursuing her dream, leaving Frederick alone in New York. Within a year, their marriage was completely broken. But Elizabeth did not give up on finding true love. After her first marriage ended, she quickly entered a new relationship with Oscar-winning actor Gig Young, who was 25 years her senior and almost the same age as her father. Although the age difference caused many to be concerned, Elizabeth decided to pursue this relationship despite opposition from her family. Her father, a conservative man, was particularly against the relationship. However, Elizabeth seemed to believe that Gig's experience and success would be the foundation for a solid relationship, helping her to have the peace she always wanted. But once again, harsh reality hit Elizabeth. Gig Young was a man with many psychological problems and a heavy dependence on alcohol. His personality became more erratic and violent when he was around Elizabeth, with heated arguments and both physical and verbal violence. Elizabeth tried many times to help Gig overcome his alcoholism and instability, hoping to save her marriage. Despite her patience and tolerance, all her efforts were in vain. Gig became worse and worse, and their marriage only made Elizabeth more exhausted and desperate. After 7 years of turmoil and suffering, Elizabeth decided to divorce him in 1963, when she turned 30. Although her heart was broken, it was a necessary decision to protect herself. It was a lucky escape for Elizabeth, because after she left Gig, he continued to descend into violence and eventually caused tragedy. In a drunken rage, Gig killed his second wife before taking his own life. If Elizabeth had not left him when she did, she might have met a tragic end. You might think that after a few failed marriages, Elizabeth would be more careful in choosing a partner, but the reality is not so simple. She seems to be strongly attracted to troubled men who Elizabeth thinks she can save. But, ironically, she often ends up being the one who gets hurt. Interestingly, most of these men are much older than Elizabeth, close to her father's age. Perhaps Elizabeth feels attracted and secure in relationships with more mature men, or perhaps she is always looking for a father figure in love. One of Elizabeth's most tumultuous relationships was with the legendary Elvis Presley. They met when Elizabeth visited the set of the movie Kid Galahad, where Elvis was acting with her then-husband, actor Gig Young. Elvis, with his confident and charming demeanor, was immediately attracted to Elizabeth. Just like on stage, the king of rock and roll let no barriers stand in his way. Even the fact that Elizabeth was married didn't bother Elvis. He was determined to win her over, and it didn't take long for the two to take their affair further. The connection was magnetic and irresistible, but in the end, it was just one of Elizabeth's many sexual adventures. Elizabeth's life has certainly been one in which love played a major role. She had a whirlwind and passionate affair with film legend Gary Cooper while they were filming The Court-Martial of Billy Mitchell. Cooper, a handsome and experienced man, was completely captivated by Elizabeth's elegant beauty. Rumors even circulated that the two were caught in Cooper's dressing room on set. Although no one knows for sure what happened, word spread quickly, and Elizabeth became the focus of many behind-the-scenes romances. Although her affair with Gary Cooper was the first highlight of her love life, it was her marriage to William Asher, a famous Hollywood producer and director, that really took Elizabeth's career to the next level. Asher not only loved Elizabeth passionately, but also helped her get the role of a lifetime as Samantha in Bewitched, the fantasy TV series that changed her career forever. The couple fell in love and married in 1963, and went through many happy and stormy years together, along with 3 lovely children, William, Robert, and Rebecca. Elizabeth's 2 subsequent pregnancies were also featured in Bewitched, where Samantha also experienced adorable pregnancies. Despite her outward appearance, the marriage to Asher was not as happy as it seemed. Elizabeth, with her rebellious and passionate nature, gradually realized that she could not keep her heart for Asher. Although she tried to be a devoted wife, she eventually felt emotionally distant, especially when faced with inner difficulties that the two of them could not seem to overcome together. The marriage ended in regret in 1973, causing a stir in Hollywood, especially among those who knew the deep feelings Asher still had for her. Sadly, even to the end of his life, Asher blamed himself for not being able to maintain happiness with Elizabeth, believing that if he had tried harder, the outcome might have been different. While filming Bewitched, Elizabeth had an affair with director Richard Michaels, who was considered talented but also charming. Initially, it was an affair full of passion and intrigue, but the relationship was quickly exposed when the media discovered it. More importantly, Michaels was married, and his relationship with Elizabeth turned both of their lives upside down. When the affair was revealed, Michaels' wife filed for divorce, creating a storm in the entertainment industry. Elizabeth also decided to end her marriage to William Asher, her husband and director who had been with her for many years. After ending her relationship with Asher, Elizabeth lived a rather private life and did not enter into any serious relationships for about 2 decades. But in 1993, she suddenly married actor Robert Foxworth, who was 8 years her junior. This marriage surprised many people because everyone thought that Elizabeth would no longer be involved in love after the previous storms. However, love with Foxworth seemed to bring her comfort after the suffering in the past. The two had a happy time together, but a part of Elizabeth still struggled and searched. Before marrying Foxworth, Elizabeth had a love affair with Alexander Godunov, a Russian ballet dancer and actor. Godunov was not only handsome, but also a sensitive and wounded soul, making Elizabeth unable to stop wanting to save him. Unfortunately, this love did not go smoothly, and when Elizabeth decided to leave, Godunov fell into a severe crisis. The trauma from the relationship with Elizabeth made him unable to recover and later led to his death. This love affair left a deep mark on Elizabeth's life and perhaps also made her quieter, thinking more about herself. Shortly after her marriage to Foxworth, Elizabeth was diagnosed with colon cancer. While filming Deadline for Murder, from the files of Edna Buchanan, Elizabeth began experiencing flu-like symptoms, but she ignored them to complete her work. Unfortunately, by the time her illness was discovered, the cancer had spread from her colon to her liver, leaving her with little hope of recovery. With her usual strong spirit and determination, Elizabeth decided not to stay in the hospital. She chose to return to her Beverly Hills home, where she had shared many memories with Foxworth. On the morning of May 18, 1995, Elizabeth passed away at the age of 62, surrounded by Foxworth and her 3 children from her marriage to William Asher. She left this world in a simple, unassuming, but loving and peaceful way. A month after Elizabeth's death, family and friends held a memorial service at the Cannon Theater in Beverly Hills. The ceremony was not only a tribute to her, but also an opportunity to share fond memories of Elizabeth. Musician Herbie Hancock played a song, Amanda McBroom sang, and writer Dominic Dunn spoke about their early friendship in New York. Foxworth also read letters of condolence from fans, proving that Elizabeth was more than just an actress, she was an icon in the public eye. Thank you for watching until the end of the video. If you find the content interesting and useful, do not hesitate to click like to let me know you love it. And to not miss any new videos in the future, click subscribe and turn on the notification bell. This will help me have more motivation to create more quality videos for you. In this video, we share with you the untold stories of the life of star Annette Funicello, a Disney muse and 60s icon with hit beach movies, and showcase some rare photos of her. Once she entered it, she quickly became swept up in the entertainment industry, to the point where she only found peace in a wheelchair and when she left life. What happened during this emotional journey? Check out her rare photos and discover her inspiring story. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to keep us motivated. Annette Funicello, born October 22, 1942, in a small town in New York, is the embodiment of a fairy tale in real life. A shy girl, growing up in the love of her family. Since childhood, Annette was known in her family as a reserved, even a bit shy girl. At the age of 12, when her peers were still going to school, she stepped into the spotlight. Her parents, wishing their daughter to become more confident, pushed her into music and dance classes. Although reluctant at first, Annette gradually discovered the joy of moving to the rhythm, and perhaps, this shyness made her more attractive when she stepped on stage. In 1955, Annette participated in a dance performance in Burbank, California. It was not a big deal, but for Annette, it was a chance to dress as the Swan Queen in Swan Lake. As she strode across the stage, the elegance of her movements brought the entire audience to a hushed silence. But the most memorable thing was not the spellbinding silence, but the appearance of one special audience member, Walt Disney, who was desperately looking for a young talent for his new show, Mickey Mouse Club, was completely captivated by Annette. After the performance, he quickly spoke to her parents. Impressed by Annette's charm and potential, Disney offered her a 7-year contract at a staggering $160 a week, a huge sum at the time. Annette was the only member of the Mickey Mouse Club to be personally selected by Walt Disney himself, a rare and proud event. When the show began, Annette quickly won the hearts of the audience with her natural charm and bright smile. Not only was she one of the most popular members, but she also received a huge amount of fan mail that far exceeded anyone else in the cast. This made Annette not only the star of the show, but also an icon of American youth at that time. Under the Disney roof, Annette participated in many outstanding projects. You may remember her in the films of the Spin and Marty series or the adventure film Adventures in Dairyland. Each role gave Annette the opportunity to show her versatility and natural talent, further cementing her position in the hearts of fans. Annette became a shining star in the hearts of audiences after the first season of Mickey Mouse Club, where she received a huge amount of fan mail, far surpassing all other members. With that attraction, Annette continued to appear in other Disney series such as Adventures in Dairyland or the second and third parts of Spin and Marty. When Mickey Mouse Club ended, the cooperation between Annette and Disney did not stop. Another memorable role of hers was Anita Cabrillo in the Zorro series. Although only a supporting role, Annette still made a strong impression thanks to her increasingly mature acting ability. However, the entertainment world was not always sparkling. With a salary of $325 per week, a significant number at that time, but not really worthy of a star's efforts, Annette decided to stand up and fight. Without a lawyer by her side when signing the contract, she sued Disney to demand better rights. Unfortunately, the court did not support her, forcing Annette to return to work as if nothing had happened. However, the relationship between Annette and Walt Disney remained close. For Annette, Disney was not only her boss, but also a second father. He always stood by her side and protected her, even strongly objecting when Annette wanted to change her stage name to Annette Turner for fear that she would lose the love of the audience. Even her fashion style did not escape his attention. Annette once said that Disney firmly advised her to avoid revealing clothes, especially not to expose her navel in beach movies. Although sometimes he seemed strict, Walt Disney's feelings for Annette were truly deep and sincere. After leaving Disney, Annette quickly transformed herself into one of the brightest teen idols. She embarked on the Project Beach Party, 1963, with handsome actor Frank Avalon. The film not only brought Annette's name to a new height, but also opened a series of beach party films in which she participated, from Bikini Beach to Beach Blanket Bingo. These films were not only commercially successful, but also shaped Annette as a symbol of fun and excitement in American youth culture. She appeared on screen with the image of a pure, vibrant girl, a perfect combination of innocence and charm. But as people often say, the halo also fades. After a long time associated with beach films, Annette's career gradually slowed down. Audiences began to turn their attention to new trends, and Annette was forced to face the question, continue or stop? Instead of taking on unsuitable roles or participating in low-quality projects, Annette decided to step away from the spotlight to focus on her family. This was a brave move, but it also made her gradually fade away from the audience's hearts. She left the acting field to focus on her family. In 1965, Annette Funicello, a shining star of Disney, had an official relationship, first meeting director Jack L. Gilardi. It was a meeting like coming out of a romantic movie, eyes meeting, smiles exchanging, and just 1 year later, they decided to exchange vows. Annette's first marriage was a major turning point in her life, bringing not only happiness but also challenges. Annette and Jack quickly built a small family with 3 children: Gina Portman, a beautiful daughter with a smile like her mother, and 2 sons, Jack Jr. and Jason, each of whom carried the pride of their parents. But not all love stories have a fairy tale ending. After 16 years of living together, Annette and Jack said goodbye because of irreconcilable differences. She never publicly shared the cause, but many people believe that the pressure from work and the limelight contributed to the rift in the relationship. After her first marriage ended, Annette did not let her heart freeze for long. In 1986, she found a new light in her life: Glenn D. Holt, a horse breeder. Unlike the glitz and glamour of Hollywood, Glenn brought Annette a sense of peace and stability. The couple quickly married and started a new chapter, living a simple and peaceful life in Southern California. They were together for 26 years, sharing all the joys and sorrows, until Annette passed away in 2013. Although they did not have children together, their love was still a testament to a lasting marriage. Glenn was always Annette's loyal companion, and together they overcame many challenges, from the battle with illness to the unexpected house fire in 2011. If there is one thing Annette is famous for besides her acting talent, it is luck. On a quiet night in March 2011, Annette's house in Los Angeles suddenly caught fire. Although she inhaled a large amount of smoke, she was treated promptly by doctors and luckily survived. After the incident, Annette and Glenn decided to move to their farm, which felt safer. That was also where Annette spent the last years of her life, enjoying the fresh air and leisurely afternoons with her loving husband. Before becoming a model mother and wife, Annette almost had the opportunity to become Princess Ozma in a Disney film about the world of Oz. Walt Disney, who discovered Annette's talent, had high hopes for this project. However, despite all efforts, the film was never made. However, Annette remained optimistic and did not let this dampen her cheerful spirit. When asked why she stopped her music career, Annette revealed that she never expected the industry to take her seriously and had no intention of pursuing a music career. In another confidential interview, she shared that despite her huge success with music, she hated recording songs. According to Annette, recording made her very uncomfortable. With most of today's popular songs, she explained that the recording process was not very pleasant. I would sing the first take, then sing along with myself, and then they would add a lot of reverb to create the sound. When her acting career failed, Annette tried to return to music, but that also did not bring the expected results. In 1989, Annette reunited with pop star Frankie Avalon on tour, where they planned to perform all their 1960s pop hits. But it was then that the actress began to show symptoms of the disease that would later take her life. Annette always looked for love wherever she went. In her short time working in the music industry, Annette has won many hearts, but her most famous love was with musician Paul Anka. At that time, Annette was only 17 years old, a rising star with a promising career, and Paul Anka was a talented young musician. Annette wanted to keep their relationship private, but Paul chose to express his love publicly through music. The song Puppy Love, written specifically for Annette, became one of Paul's biggest hits. However, this publicity brought more pressure than joy. Their relationship was scrutinized by the media and the public, making it difficult for both of them to maintain their feelings. In the end, their love naturally broke up due to differences in thinking and pressure from their careers. Years later, Paul Anka admitted that Annette was not only attracted to him because of her beauty, but also because of her determination and integrity. These qualities made him always regret that she did not become the happy ending of his life. In the late 1980s, Annette received some unpleasant news. She was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, an autoimmune disease that damages the nervous system. But Annette, like many others, was determined not to let the illness get in the way. She faced the diagnosis with her usual optimism, even joking with her family, "At least I don't have to worry about wearing high heels anymore." Although doctors advised her to reduce her activities, Annette couldn't sit still. She founded a charity to help others in the same situation and also participated in many fundraising events. Who would have thought that, in the midst of her increasingly severe symptoms, Annette would maintain her cheerful spirit and unwavering determination? Initially, Annette decided to keep her illness a secret. But the truth could not be hidden forever, especially when her difficulty walking led to her being mistaken for an alcoholic or drug addict. Instead of being sad, Annette chose to face public opinion with the truth. In 1992, she went public with her condition, not forgetting to add a smile. "I'm not drunk, it's just my nerves throwing a party without my permission." Annette's husband, Glenn Holt, was always by her side, a tireless companion. Glenn was not only supportive, but also believed that one day his wife would be healthy again. He often joked, "I'll try all treatments, even celery juice, if it can help you dance again." Annette, despite facing many difficulties, was always a great mother. She not only explained to her children about the disease, but also taught them how to find joy in every situation. Family meals were always filled with laughter, even when Annette had to be fed through a tube. When Annette passed away in April 2013, the world was in mourning. But instead of letting the sadness overwhelm her, people chose to remember her for all the optimism, vitality, and love of life she brought. Annette's legacy is not only in her films, her songs, or her appearances on the silver screen. It is also in the way she lived, a life filled with strength and optimism, even in the most difficult of circumstances. After battling multiple sclerosis for more than 20 years, Annette taught the world a valuable lesson: never let adversity define you. And with a net worth of $10 million at the time of her death, Annette was not only a Disney star, but also a woman who turned every challenge into an opportunity to inspire millions of others. That's all about her we want to tell you. Don't forget to support us by clicking like and subscribe. Double the fun. Meryl Streep, the queen of all roles, from emotional characters to hot roles full of surprises. Did you know that at the age of 60, Meryl once affirmed that she would never stop doing sex scenes as long as she was in the profession? And now, at the age of 76, she still surprises Hollywood with never-before-revealed stories about her private life. Discover the personal secrets and interesting relationships behind closed doors of this cinema legend. It can be said that Meryl Streep is a phenomenon not only in the film industry, but also in the hearts of the public around the world. She is not simply an actress, she is a legend, a symbol of perseverance and endless dedication. With 33 Golden Globe nominations, a number that any actor must dream of all their lives, but for Meryl, it seems to be as normal as a pound of sugar and milk. Behind that is a serious artistic work and a constant search for new things. Meryl never limits herself to any role or genre. She can make people cry in Sophie's Choice, but can also make the audience laugh with It's Complicated. In particular, Meryl has never hesitated to show bold aspects of life through each role, including hot love scenes that many people think are only for young actors. If you think age can make Meryl shy away from hot scenes, you are very wrong. She once declared in an interview, "Nothing prevents me from doing hot scenes in movies, including age." A strong and confident affirmation from a woman who had passed the age of 60 at that time. Meryl not only considers these scenes as work, but also as art and a way to reflect real life. According to her, love, romance, and intense moments never disappear, regardless of a person's age. In the romantic comedy It's Complicated, Meryl made the audience both shy and excited when she transformed into a woman over 50 years old, embarking on a complicated love affair with her ex-husband, played by Alec Baldwin. The romantic scenes in the film are not only performed gracefully, but also make viewers feel that love has no limits. Meryl does not hesitate to break all social stereotypes that older women no longer have a place in passionate love stories. Meryl often expresses a very unique perspective on life and career. She is not only the one who leads touching stories on screen, but also an inspiration in real life. The idea that you have to look a certain way and be a certain age is ridiculous, she once said in an interview, causing the audience to applaud. She emphasized that, "We love what we love, its shape is not important." A statement that is not only true for art, but also true for life. Meryl always believes that beauty and emotion cannot be limited by the rigid rules set by society. It would be a big mistake to mention Meryl without mentioning Don Gummer. As a talented sculptor and devoted husband, Don was an indispensable part of Meryl's journey. Despite having a busy and famous wife, Don always supported and created conditions for her to shine. Perhaps it was Don's calmness and understanding that helped Meryl comfortably pursue her passion and career. And no matter how bold or controversial roles Meryl took on, Don was always by her side, as a solid rear. Throughout her career, Meryl had the opportunity to work with countless famous stars, but perhaps her on-screen relationship with Robert Redford in Out of Africa is one of the most unforgettable. The film tells the love story between a Danish baroness and a hunter in colonial Africa. Meryl once admitted that filming the scene with Redford was one of the most emotional experiences of her career. "I almost thought I was really in love with him," she said. Of course, it was all on screen, but the way she portrayed it made the audience believe that it was true love. The combination of acting talent and genuine emotion helped make the film a classic, and Meryl herself had an unforgettable memory. As we delve deeper into the revelations, we realize that Meryl's life was in real danger during the shoot, but she was too busy to notice. But what few people know is that, while filming the special, Meryl had to take a dip in the river with Redford, who lovingly washed her hair while reciting verses from the Rime of the Ancient Mariner. The producers had warned about the dangers of the surrounding wildlife, but Meryl Streep didn't care. "I don't remember if they showed it in the movie, but I was very concerned about it," she shared. In fact, the hippos nearby were the real worry. But despite the danger, Meryl refused to stop, even completing the scene after several attempts. And of course, the movie Out of Africa became a box office blockbuster, earning 11 Oscar nominations and catapulting Meryl Streep to new heights. Once again, her tireless dedication proved that, for Meryl Streep, no challenge is too big, nothing can make her give up. Another story about a hot encounter with a female colleague, this one seems to be little known. That colleague is the famous Spanish actress, Penélope Cruz. Penélope Cruz, with her charming beauty and outstanding talent, once admitted that she could not stop obsessing over Meryl Streep after a nude photo shoot. The reason? The scene far surpassed any intimate scene she had ever done with stars like Tom Cruise or Scarlett Johansson. "It was the most exciting love scene I have ever done," Penélope shared after the shoot. The relationship between the two originated from Penelope's admiration for Meryl when she was a teenager. Meryl was the idol that Penelope had dreamed of becoming, and finally, shooting an AIDS advertisement with Meryl became a dream come true for her. Perhaps, in Penelope's eyes, Meryl had always been a charming and attractive woman, to the point that she couldn't stop kissing her when she met her. This scene may have surprised many people, but for Penelope, it was a moment that she would always remember and cherish for the rest of her life. And although Meryl did not share her feelings about this, Penelope's sincerity and admiration could warm anyone's heart. However, in addition to emotional and interesting encounters with female colleagues, Meryl Streep also has many hot situations with male colleagues, especially Leonardo DiCaprio. The two starred together in the comedy Don't Look Up in 2021, but what caught many people's attention was not their great acting but a rather controversial scene. In one scene, Meryl appeared in a nude scene, with a tattoo on her lower back. And what surprised everyone was that Leonardo DiCaprio felt uncomfortable witnessing this scene. Although Meryl has always been ready and confident in scenes that required exposing her body, Leonardo felt it was inappropriate to see a big star like Meryl do it. However, Meryl does not mind this, because she believes that such scenes can increase the persuasiveness and authenticity of the film, even though some people feel uncomfortable. Meryl always believes that, in the acting profession, the truth is the most important factor. And this applies not only to the roles, but also to the way she lives and works in life. That is why Meryl is always willing to participate in scenes that many people may feel embarrassed about. And despite facing opposition from those around her, Meryl still maintains her belief in the value of authenticity in art. Regardless of a nude scene in Don't Look Up or romantic love scenes in The Devil Wears Prada, Meryl always shows absolute confidence. She is not afraid to show weakness, strength, or even intimate moments, because all are part of the journey of making true art. Despite her cheerful and easygoing personality on screen, Meryl was unlucky in her real-life love life, which led to her disappointment, heartbreak, and broken hearts many times. One of Meryl's first love affairs in the entertainment industry was a touching one. It was with John Cazale, who was 14 years older than her and a bright star, but not well known in real life. The couple first met in 1976, when they both participated in the play Measure for Measure. Meryl revealed that she felt a special connection with him the first time they met and fell in love with him immediately. A beautiful, passionate love affair. Within a few weeks, they were living under the same roof, creating sweet memories. However, life is not always a dream. When John was diagnosed with lung cancer, both faced an unexpected shock. John had to withdraw from the play, and Meryl did everything she could to take care of him, from taking care of him to covering his medical expenses. However, the miracle she hoped for did not happen. John passed away in March 1978 in Meryl's loving arms. And from then on, this pain was forever engraved in her mind. Meryl shared, "I couldn't get over it, and I didn't want to get over it. No matter what I did, the pain was always somewhere in the deep corner of my mind." A beautiful but also heartbreaking love made Meryl stronger than ever. After this great loss, Meryl's life also had significant changes. In the same year, her career took off with classic films such as Holocaust, The Deer Hunter, and Kramer vs. Kramer. But her love life took a turn when she met Montgomery, a talented sculptor. The meeting took place under the most romantic circumstances. Meryl was in a difficult period, having to find a place to live after John's death. Don opened his heart and invited her to live with him in his home. Just a few months later, Meryl and Don were married, and they had 4 children together. During their more than 3 decades together, Meryl has always emphasized that their relationship is one of the best in her life. According to Meryl, Don has always been a great companion, always ready to take care of the children when she was busy with work. Meryl shared the secret of their happiness in a 2002 interview: goodwill, willingness to give in, and sometimes silence. However, things have not always been smooth. The relationship was not without its challenges. In 2023, Meryl surprised everyone by announcing that her marriage to Don had ended. However, she revealed that the love between them had been gone since 2017 and that they were tired of keeping it a secret. Although life was not a dream, Meryl still kept her wedding ring as a symbol of respect for Don, who had been with her for more than 35 years. The relationship may have ended, but the memories of the good old days are still an important part of Meryl's life. Despite the ups and downs in her love life, Meryl Streep has always been a role model of a resilient woman who never gives up. She is a great mother, and despite going through many difficulties, she always knows how to balance work and family. Meryl once shared that the biggest challenge in her life is being a mother. Her children, including a daughter and 3 sons, have always been her pride and the greatest motivation for her to continue her career and live a meaningful life. Meryl always says, "No matter how successful I am, I still feel happiest when I am with my children." Currently, at the age of 75, with steady progress in her career and touching stories about her family life, Meryl Streep is still in great shape, and she is enjoying a fulfilling life with her children at her home in New York, with an impressive fortune estimated at more than $100 million. From participating in blockbusters to independent art projects, Meryl has skillfully built her own empire, creating a full and fulfilling life. Thank you for watching this video. If you find the information in the video interesting and useful, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the latest videos. Your support is a great source of motivation for us, and we appreciate every subscription and every share from you. Please continue to accompany us to discover more fascinating stories about famous stars. Diane Lane, a Hollywood icon of talent and beauty, has been captivating audiences for over 4 decades. From innocent roles in her youth to deep and complex characters in adulthood, she has built an impressive and admired career. Diane's journey is not only the story of a successful actress, but also a vivid picture of perseverance, passion, and constant innovation in the entertainment industry. Let's explore the entire history of her life and career through this video. Diane Lane was born on January 22, 1965 in New York, and inherited the glamour of her mother, Colleen Lee Farrington, a glamorous Playboy model and singer at luxury nightclubs. But if you think Diane had a peaceful childhood, think again. Just 13 days after she was born, her parents began arguing about divorce. In the end, they decided that Diane would live with her mother after they split up. However, before Diane could get used to this life, her mother suddenly left for Georgia on a trip. Diane moved back in with her father, starting the journey of a girl who was much more independent than her age. However, even at a young age, Diane showed a special charm. In 1971, when she was only 6 years old, she stepped onto the stage with her first role in the Greek play Medea. This opened the door to the art world. Just a few years later, Diane appeared in the famous play The Cherry Orchard, sharing the stage with legends like Meryl Streep and Irene Worth. However, what was interesting about Diane was not only her acting talent, but also her way of turning down opportunities that others would only dream of. At the age of 13, she was offered the chance to make her film debut with the legendary Laurence Olivier, and Diane turned it down. Laurence, instead of being offended, declared Diane Lane the new Grace Kelly, a compliment that caught everyone's attention in the industry. Diane quickly became the cover girl of many magazines, hailed as one of the most outstanding young talents in Hollywood. But Diane's life wasn't all praise and glory. Despite her success on stage and screen, Diane had a rocky relationship with her studies. She hated school, which forced her away from her passion for acting. However, life didn't allow her to rest. After her mother abandoned her to go on a trip, Diane was secretly kidnapped by her own mother, which led to intense legal battles between her parents. When it was all over, Diane refused to speak to her mother for 3 years. At the age of 15, Diane made another big change in her life. She declared her independence from her father and flew to Los Angeles to film Child Bride of Short Creek. It was a bold move, but Diane later admitted that it was a bit too cool for a girl her age. But this independence also laid the foundation for Diane to continue pursuing her passion for acting. Diane eventually dropped out of college after a few months, and now she was desperate to land her big break. In the years that followed, Diane worked hard and appeared in a string of films, including Touched by Love, Six Pack, and The Fabulous Stains. However, her real breakthrough came when Diane starred in 2 blockbuster films, The Outsiders and Rumblefish. Both were adaptations of S.E. Hilton novels and featured young actors who would go on to become superstars, including Tom Cruise, Rob Lowe, Matt Dillon, and Nicolas Cage. After these films, Diane was called the key actress of the new Hollywood Band of Disorder. With all this came a surge of fame and influence, and while Diane enjoyed it, it was also the beginning of her downfall. She had a lot of contracts on the table, so it was easy for her to turn down many projects so she could focus on films like Streets of Fire and The Cotton Club. However, both of these films failed both commercially and critically, forcing Diane to take an unwanted hiatus from the screen. The reason she gave was that she hadn't seen her mother in a long time, and this was the perfect time to mend the relationship, but fans weren't fooled. Some began to look at her career with sympathy, and even when Diane finally prepared to make a comeback, it wasn't as successful as she had hoped. The actress was seen in the films Big Town and Lady Beware, but both failed to live up to expectations. Diane's first big break came in 1989, when she starred in the miniseries Lonesome Dove. With her emotional performance in this film, Diane received her first Emmy nomination, an achievement that marked her comeback. Not many people know that Diane was once a strong candidate for the role of Vivian Ward in Pretty Woman, 1990, but due to scheduling conflicts, the role went to Julia Roberts, catapulting Julia to stardom. Meanwhile, Diane continued her career path with small successes. It took her 7 years to find another prominent project. In 1999, Diane starred in the film Walk on the Moon, where she played the lead role alongside actors such as Viggo Mortensen and Anna Paquin. Director Tony Goldwyn described Diane as a volcano of seduction with a natural, unadulterated charisma. The role earned her an Independent Spirit Award nomination for Best Actress, a testament to her talent and relentless drive. However, Diane Lane's true career breakthrough came in 2002 with the film Unfaithful. This sensual drama was not only a box office success, but also catapulted Diane to international fame. In the film, she played a complex, adulterous wife, and her profound performance received a storm of praise from critics. Diane was nominated for a series of prestigious awards such as an Academy Award, a Golden Globe, and a Screen Actors Guild Award. However, this success also came with its own set of difficulties, as she faced great pressure during filming. The hot scenes in Unfaithful not only made Diane feel uncomfortable, but also led to tensions between her and the film crew. However, she still affirmed that all the efforts were worth it when looking back at the success that the film brought. However, this success also brought its own difficulties for Diane when she was stereotyped. Not long after she became a hot name thanks to Unfaithful, Diane considered giving up her acting career. With only a few roles in moderately successful films, the actress began to express her frustration at being stereotyped into such roles. According to her, she wanted to find roles that were not too sympathetic, and Diane publicly detailed her plans if the industry rejected what she wanted. She announced that if there were no new opportunities, she would withdraw from the industry to spend time with her family. However, despite her disappointment with being framed, Diane went on to star in Secretariat, 2010, a Disney film about the relationship between a racehorse and its owner, Penny Chinnery, a role that Diane played. Diane's most recent career success was the HBO television film Cinema Verite, 2011, about the making of the first reality television show An American Family. Diane received Emmy, Golden Globe, Screen Award, and Satellite Award nominations for her role. The difficulties and pains in her love life. Sometimes the men she wanted did not want her, or the men who wanted her had selfish desires hidden behind the facade. The relationship that made the press busy in the 1980s, Diane and legendary rocker Jon Bon Jovi. This handsome and beautiful couple started dating in 1985, when Diane was only 20 years old. Unfortunately, their love did not survive the short 5 months. According to Diane, the geographical distance and Jon's long tours made the relationship fragile. However, Bon Jovi's former manager tells a completely different story. In his memoir, he claims that Diane was caught partying with Richie Sambora, the band's lead guitarist. Diane, of course, vehemently denied it and even jokingly said, "Let them say whatever they want, I don't have time to argue with best-selling books." After Jon, Diane continued to have less noisy relationships with stars such as Emilio Estevez, Timothy Hutton, and Christopher Atkins. But the most notable was her first marriage to French actor Christopher Lambert. Diane and Lambert first met on the set of Highlander in 1986. 2 years later, they reunited for another project and quickly became an inseparable couple. In 1988, they married in a romantic ceremony in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Their love story was even more special when they welcomed daughter Eleanor 3 years later. However, the joy of family was not enough to maintain this relationship. Diane frankly admitted, "It wasn't love, nor was it passion. I was simply waiting for someone who made me feel like a real woman." The marriage ended quickly in a bitter divorce. After her divorce from Lambert, Diane didn't take long to move on. A few months later, she announced her engagement to star Josh Brolin. Diane and Josh met while she was pregnant with their daughter, but their romance didn't really begin until 9 years later. They married in 2004, but their marriage quickly became the center of controversy. Diane called the police shortly after their wedding, accusing Josh of abuse. She later withdrew the accusation, saying it was a big misunderstanding. Despite efforts to reconcile, they eventually divorced in 2013. Josh, in a later interview, spoke candidly about the incident. "I've learned to control myself, but it was a really chaotic time." Although the two have never been seen together since their split, Diane has maintained a low profile and focused on her career and family. Now, at the age of 59, Diane Lane has chosen a quieter life. Instead of appearing regularly on screen, she spends most of her time taking care of her daughter Eleanor and participating in charity activities. Living in a cozy house in Los Angeles, Diane seems to have found peace after years of turmoil. In a conversation, Diane shared the secret to a positive life. "I think the soul needs to be like Teflon. Don't let negativity stick. Turn it into energy to keep moving forward." Not only does Diane maintain an optimistic spirit, she also pays great attention to taking care of herself, from a scientific diet to protecting her skin from the sun. In addition to maintaining her form in the entertainment industry, Diane is also an active charity activist. With an estimated net worth of $40 million, she has supported many projects to help children and people in poverty-stricken areas around the world. Diane Lane is not only a beauty icon but also a strong woman who knows how to turn pain and challenges into motivation to rise up. Despite the difficulties in her personal life, she always maintains elegance and optimism. Diane's story is proof that, no matter how stormy life is, you can still find light at the end of the road. Thank you for watching this video to the end. If you find this content interesting and useful, please take a few seconds to like and subscribe to the channel. Each of your likes and subs is not only a support, but also helps me have more motivation to create more good content. In this video, join us as we uncover the hidden pages of the life of Queen of Country Music Emmylou Harris. Have you ever wondered how a college dropout became one of the brightest names in the music industry? Or why her collaborations with other artists are always a hot topic? And will she find true love? Get ready to see Emmylou's rare moments and discover interesting, surprising stories in the artist's life. If you find this content useful, please like and subscribe to support us. Emmylou Harris, a legend of country and folk music, had a childhood and life full of unexpected twists and turns, a journey that no one expected would turn her into a shining star. Since she was a little girl, Emmylou was an excellent student, always at the top of her class with bright A's. She was smart, agile, and talented, to the point that when people looked at Emmylou, they thought her future would be tied to stable and famous professions such as law or medicine. But in the midst of those expectations, this young girl surprised her family and everyone around her by choosing a completely different path. Born into a family with no musical tradition, Emmylou grew up with a passion for art and a desire to express herself. Instead of choosing a smooth academic path, Emmylou pursued her dream of studying acting. accepted a scholarship to the School of Music, Theater, and the Arts at the University of North Carolina, she began her journey to realize that dream with great hope. Initially, Emmylou always thought that she would become an actress. But the hardships in life, along with the harsh environment of the university, caused her to encounter no small challenges. While in college, Emmylou had to study and perform at local clubs to earn extra income. She had to work as a waitress at a restaurant to continue to survive. Difficulties piled up as tuition and living expenses became more expensive, and her passion for acting gradually became more distant than ever. The culmination of pressure and fatigue led Emmylou to make a bold decision to drop out of school. When asked about the reason, Emmylou frankly said, "I was so tired of boring subjects that had nothing to do with what I wanted to do in life. Introduction to anthropology and introduction to sociology just bored me." Her journey didn't stop there, though. After college, Emmylou continued to pursue her passion for the arts by performing at small folk clubs. It was there that she discovered that she loved singing more than acting. She found her voice and herself through melody and lyrics. Although she didn't think music would be her career, as her passion for music grew, Emmylou decided to devote all her time and energy to singing. Emmylou's childhood wasn't a journey into country music. She grew up heavily influenced by 1960s folk music, with icons like Leonard Cohen, Joan Baez, and Bob Dylan, artists who ignited her love of performing. But it was her older brother who introduced Emmylou to the world of country music. He introduced her to music legends like Loretta Lynn, Johnny Cash, and Buck Owens. The combination of folk music and country influences helped shape Emmylou Harris's signature musical style, which is powerful yet deep and emotional. It all started in the early 70s, when she started singing in small bars and clubs in Washington, D.C. It was nights when she sang to small but devoted audiences, slowly building her reputation. It was then that Emmylou met the duo Billy and Taffy Danoff, who saw potential in her. They did everything they could to help her get her first breakthrough. Although her efforts did not take her straight to the top, they did help her get more shows. This opened an important period of development for Emmylou, where she gradually built her foundation and style. One of the biggest turning points in Harris's life was meeting Graham Parsons, an American singer and songwriter. Parsons was fascinated by her unique voice and quickly saw a kindred spirit in her. They collaborated and performed together as if they were dance partners and quickly became in tune with the rhythm and melody. Emmylou was not only a vocal partner to Parsons, but also a musical soulmate. "Once I started singing country with Graham, there was no turning back for me," she recalled. And indeed, Emmylou's path from there was one of country music success. After Parsons' sudden death, Emmylou produced a tribute album called Return of the Grievous Angel, featuring covers from artists like Beck, The Pretenders, and Lucinda Williams. It was her way of saying goodbye to her dear friend, but it also propelled her career to new heights. She continued to soar, unstoppable, not even this heartbreaking loss. Soon after, Emmylou formed her own band and began performing regularly at the Red Fox in Bethesda, Maryland. It was a vibrant and passionate time, where she gradually built her team and perfected her performance style. It was at the Red Fox Inn that she met Brian Ahern, a Canadian music producer who would play a major role in her career. In 1975, all of Emmylou's hard work and perseverance paid off, as her album Pieces of the Sky became a huge hit. The album topped the country charts, peaking at number 7 on the Billboard charts and becoming a favorite of audiences across the United States. Soon after, she released Elite Hotel, an even bigger hit that peaked at #1 and earned her first Grammy Award for Best Female Country Vocal Performance. It was then that Emmylou established herself as a rising star in country music, and she never looked back. In the years that followed, Emmylou continued to create many outstanding songs, each a testament to her unique style and talent. Hits like Beneath Still Waters, Gold Watch and Chain, Save the Last Dance for Me, Pledging My Love, and If This Is Goodbye in 2006 left indelible marks in the hearts of fans. With more than 5 decades of artistic activity, Harris has won 13 Grammy Awards, creating an impressive legacy in the music industry. From the first years of holding the microphone to the peak of her career, Harris not only conquered listeners with her sweet voice and emotional performance, but also thanks to her determination, willingness to experiment and combine with other big names, although many times, these decisions caused controversy. However, Emmylou Harris's success was sometimes overshadowed by decisions in her personal life, especially complicated relationships with band members. Many people believe that this made it difficult for her to maintain a continuous career, leading to us not hearing much about her recently. However, those challenges also increased the appeal of Harris, an artist who constantly overcomes limits and prejudices. An interesting example of Harris's daring was when she decided to collaborate with Roy Orbison, a famous pop rock star. They recorded the song That Loving You Feel Again together in 1980. Although initially considered a predictable failure, the song became a huge hit, winning a Grammy for Best Country and Western Performance by a duo or group. It was a clear demonstration that Emmylou was not afraid to take risks and collaborate with artists outside of her generation, even though it may have confused her fans. Not stopping there, in 1987, Harris teamed up with Dolly Parton and Linda Ronstadt for an album project called Trio. This was another bold decision that many thought was crazy. 3 stars from 3 major record labels decided to collaborate despite business barriers and concerns from producers. The Trio album was a huge hit upon its release, winning several awards, including the Grammy for Vocal Duo/Group of the Year and Album of the Year at the 1987 Academy of American Music Awards. Mr. Sandman, a song from the album, became a fan favorite. Riding high on the success, Harris wanted to re-record Mr. Sandman with Parton and Ronstadt for the album Evangeline, but unfortunately, due to legal reasons, she was forced to perform all 3 parts of the song herself. Although it did not perform as originally intended, the recording still left a strong impression on listeners. The 3 later decided to reunite in 1999 for the album Trio 2, leaving a great impression on fans. Unfortunately, Emmylou Harris was not lucky in love, and the men who had sneaked into her heart continued to find creative ways to destroy her life. Let's go back in time to 1969, when she was a young girl full of enthusiasm with a strong passion for music and enjoying life in Greenwich Village, New York. Here, Emmylou met Tom Slocum, a man who made her heart flutter and felt that this was her first love. Within a year, Emmylou and Tom decided to get married, marking a new beginning for their life together. In 1970, Emmylou and Tom happily welcomed their first daughter, Hi. That moment was not only a moment of boundless happiness, but also a mark in Emmylou's life when she first held a sacred role of motherhood. However, like many artists, she faced the challenge of balancing family and career. Emmylou always wanted to shine on the music scene, and as her career began to take off, this pushed her into long tours, away from her family and loved ones. Although she loved her family, especially her daughter Hi, her passion for music was too great for her to give up. The demands of her job created a distance between Emmylou and Tom, and after a while, Tom could no longer bear it anymore and filed for divorce. Their separation was finalized in 1971, when Emmylou began to understand that fame and family life sometimes did not go hand in hand. But the story of Emmylou's relationship with her daughter Hai did not end there. Even after the divorce, Emmylou always wanted to take Hai with her on tours, hoping that she could create a small mobile family. However, the long-distance life, along with the unstable aspects of the music industry, made her feel worried about her child's future. Not wanting her daughter to grow up in such an unstable environment, Emmylou decided to send Hai back to Maryland to be cared for by her grandparents. The road life is not for kids. It may be fun like a trip to Disneyland, but it is not a way to live, she once shared in an interview. The decision was not easy, but it revealed a deeper side to Emmylou's personality, her love and responsibility as a mother. In 1977, Emmylou met and married Brian Ahon, a music producer she admired. Although many doubted that the relationship would last, the two decided to follow their hearts and live together. In 1979, they welcomed their second daughter, Megan, into the world, bringing new happiness to their family. Unfortunately, their marriage was not without its challenges. Emmylou and Brian divorced in 1984, citing irreconcilable differences. After the breakup, although Emmylou did not hold any grudges, there were rumors that Brian still felt dissatisfied, especially when just a few months after the divorce, Emmylou married musician and producer Paul Connelly. This was Emmylou's longest marriage, lasting nearly a decade. But in 1993, the two officially broke up. Emmylou once again chose the single path, and from then on, she became more discreet in sharing about her personal life. Emmylou Harris's life is not only associated with tumultuous marriages and loves, but also difficult moments when facing the challenges of famous life. After the final divorce, Emmylou gradually withdrew from the spotlight of showbiz and rarely appeared in public. However, that does not mean her life was completely quiet. In 2012, Emmylou unexpectedly made headlines when she was involved in a car accident on the 405 freeway in Los Angeles. According to witnesses, Emmylou accidentally hit another car and then left the scene, leading to her being charged with hit and run. The law requires drivers to stop when there is damage to their vehicles, but Emmylou claimed she was unaware that the two vehicles had collided. She eventually agreed to pay $5,000 to the victim and avoid more serious charges. It was an uncomfortable moment in the singer's life, but it also served as a testament to her willingness to take responsibility. At 77, Emmylou Harris still has the same radiant glow as she did in her prime, but now she exudes a joyful, energetic spirit. Emmylou's musical journey, with its soulful ballads and resonant singing, has made her an icon among fans. However, since childhood, she has nurtured a bigger dream, the spotlight of cinema. With a desire to live on screen, she tried her hand at it in 1988 with the HBO comedy drama Baja, Oklahoma. Although she only took on a supporting role, in which she played herself, and the film did not meet expectations, Emmylou did not let the failure deter her. She felt it was an exciting adventure, a leap into another world, even if it was just an experiment. Then, in 2006, she returned to the small screen in the TV series Big Love, although the role was still a small character but enough to mark her return. However, it was from these times that Emmylou realized that music was the path she really wanted to pursue. More certain than ever about her music career, Emmylou has continued to contribute memorable works and maintain a special place in the hearts of music lovers. Her singing, over the years, has not only become more passionate, but also has a special, attractive, and rare quality. The audience always appreciates and loves her every time she appears on stage. Currently, Emmylou is living in a luxurious villa in Los Angeles, enjoying her old age in the warmth of her family, with the joy of being a mother and a grandmother. Although she is 77 years old, Emmylou still considers herself to be over 50 and is very happy to share that. She has had a fulfilling life, both in terms of career and family. With an estimated fortune of about $15 million, Emmylou can live comfortably and securely. Occasionally, she also follows artistic activities from afar and always keeps in mind the pride of what she has done. Although she no longer appears on stage as much as before, fans always hope that one day, Emmylou will return to the spotlight, brilliant and spectacular, like her glorious days. Memories of a talented artist, with an emotional voice and great contributions to the music industry, will always live in the hearts of those who love her. Thank you for taking the time to watch the video. If you love this content and want to see more, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Each of your subscriptions is a great motivation to help me continue to create more creative and useful content. In part 1 of the series, we explored legendary icons like Marilyn Monroe and Sophia Loren, who were not only famous for their beauty but also for their freedom and style, including daring to go braless on screen. Continuing the previous part, we will continue to admire other vintage divas like Jane Fonda or Ann-Margret, who were not afraid to break the rules of fashion and became endless sources of inspiration for future generations. Let's explore more prominent names, bold fashion revolutions, and freestyles that have made an indelible mark in the history of cinema. Ann-Margret, the fiery young lady of Hollywood, is not only famous for her acting talent, but also for her bold and seductive fashion style. If you have ever seen Bye Bye Birdie, 1963, you will surely not forget the image of Ann-Margret in a sparkling fashion outfit and completely without a bra. This is not only a smart fashion choice, but also a strong declaration of freedom and absolute confidence. She is not simply a beautiful woman, she is a symbol of rebellion, not afraid to break the strict and conservative fashion stereotypes of that time. The image of Ann-Margret appearing in a braless outfit is an indelible mark in the public's heart. When talking about Ann-Margret, people not only remember her romantic movie roles, but also remember her as a model woman who is not constrained by social standards. Instead of adhering to classic standards, she decided to create a new image, a sexy image, but no less independent and individual. The braless outfit in Bye Bye Birdie became a fashion statement, affirming that confidence is the most important factor that helps a woman shine. And that confidence, Ann-Margret did not hesitate to show, making her one of the most sex symbols in Hollywood. There is no denying that in the 60s and 70s, the braless style became a bold fashion symbol for Hollywood actresses. This was a time when rebellion and free-spirited style became a trend in the fashion industry, and Ann-Margret was a pioneer in this movement. Her appearance in braless outfits was not simply a style choice, but also a declaration of women's freedom to express themselves. And Ann-Margret, with her confidence and irresistible charm, created a new standard for bold women in that era. Interestingly, Ann-Margret was not the only one who created a shock in the entertainment industry with the braless style. Other female icons of Hollywood, such as Farrah Fawcett, also contributed to creating a special fashion movement. Farrah, who is best known for her role as Jill Monroe in Charlie's Angels, 1976, has also shown her confidence and strength through her personal style, including braless sportswear. And like Ann-Margret, Farrah has also not hesitated to say that she believes the success of Charlie's Angels is largely due to the fact that none of the three angels had to wear bras. This shows that, not only in Hollywood, but all over the world, the image of confident women with unique personal styles has created a revolution in the image of women in the public. The freedom to choose clothes, especially not wearing a bra, has become a symbol of independence and control over a woman's body. Ann-Margret and Farrah Fawcett are not only talented actresses, but also symbols of freedom, strong femininity, and bold choices in style. Their era was an era of change and breaking of classical norms, where women were not afraid to express their personality and ego through their outfits. When mentioning Jane Fonda, it is impossible not to mention her rebellious boldness, both in fashion style and in social activities. With a career spanning decades, Fonda has made her mark not only as a movie star, but also as a style icon of the 60s, making the whole world look back and admire. Imagine you are a young girl living in the turbulent period of the 60s, where women began to assert themselves in society, and Jane Fonda was the embodiment of that change. In the movie Barbarella, 1968, Fonda appeared in super bold science fiction costumes, surprising the whole film world. The image of Barbarella is not only a symbol of beauty, but also a big step forward in expressing the strength and freedom of women. Fonda's tight-fitting outfits, adventurous action scenes, and captivating eyes changed the way women were viewed in cinema, defining a strong, boundary-pushing style. But talking about Jane Fonda, we cannot forget her bold social activities. She was one of the first people to speak out strongly on social issues, especially in the anti-war movement of the 60s and 70s. Her love for freedom and equality made Fonda a role model for millions of women, not only in her career, but also in her way of life and how she faced challenges. Don't forget that Fonda also caused a stir when she engaged in controversial political issues, and she was even nicknamed Hanoi Jane for her actions against the Vietnam War. But nothing could shake Fonda's courage. She always stood firm and continued to be an example for a new generation of women. Another bold symbol that Jane Fonda created was in the 80s, when she turned to making exercise videos. This was not just a simple sport, but a movement to help women become more confident in themselves and their own physical strength. Fonda's exercise videos are not only outstanding for their effectiveness, but also because she has turned a seemingly ordinary activity into an indispensable part of women's lives. The image of Fonda in a sports suit, dripping with sweat and always smiling on her lips, has created a new wave of exercise, encouraging people, especially women, to live healthier and more active lives. Jane Fonda is living proof of a woman who is not only beautiful, but also dares to be true to herself, dares to do different things to change the world. That is why she remains one of the strongest and never-fading icons of the world of cinema and society. Her contributions, whether in cinema or social activities, have inspired millions of people, especially generations of women, affirming that boldness is the key to opening new doors, both in career and life. Raquel Welch, a timeless beauty and sex symbol, has carved her name into film history with her irresistible beauty and daring style. One of the most memorable moments in Raquel's career was when she wore a leather bikini in the movie 1,000,000 Years BC, 1966. That scene not only made viewers admire her wild beauty, but also created a sexy image that was hard to surpass. Without the need for a bra or elaborate costumes, with just a simple bikini, Raquel Welch captivated the world and turned herself into a symbol of charm, confidence, and uniqueness. So how did Raquel Welch become an icon? She was not only a beautiful actress, but also someone who broke many rules and standards of the time. While many female celebrities are often forced to adhere to strict standards of appearance, Raquel has proven that women do not need to wear extravagant dresses or cover up in elaborate, discreet layers to shine and command the stage. It is her bold style and confidence in not needing a bra or complicated clothing that has made her a role model for strong, free, and independent women. Raquel's boldness is not